TradingNut, episode 31.
If you have a full-time job, it's difficult to sit in front of the computer all day.
The market's going to do something. Your job is not to fight it.
The market never, ever runs away. It's always there.
That personal diary of trading will make you a much better trader than...
I could be right about the direction, but wrong about the trade.
Don't focus on the monetary side.
Trying to make too much money on a trade is what I have seen killed every trader.
Your losses offer you some of the greatest insight you can find into your mistakes.
Relax, learn the process.
Candlestick pattern trading is a freaking trap.
Don't be in a rush to become a millionaire.
Let the market tell you what the market wants to tell you.
This podcast is not financial, trading, or investing advice of any kind. What's up, traders? Welcome to another installment of the TradingNut podcast. I'm your host, Cam Hawkins, and today we've got a trader by the name of Göran Carlfors on the show. Now, if you've heard of that name before, it's because he was on my 52 Traders podcast, the very last episode. He'd come on, he was a listener, and he'd found this thing called Pogo, and what he was doing was, what he'd found is it transformed the way he was trading. So we got him on the show to do a before snapshot, to then get him back on the show, which is happening next week, to find out how he got on. And it's literally, was it August 17th that his show was released, so it's sort of about 9 months plus from when we last heard from him. So we've got him back on. And we've also got the creator of the Pogo, and it's just morphed from Pogo into something else as well. We're going to hear about that next week as well. So stay tuned for all that, guys, coming up in the next show. But today I wanted to bring him out from behind the paywall. Yes, the 52 Traders podcast is locked away. It's $9.99 per episode, or you can buy the whole lot and get it as a coupon code in the members area. Now, I'm bringing him out. You're going to listen to that episode again. So if you have listened to it, I'm sorry, guys. It's probably old content. But the really good thing is it's going to set you up for next week. And you actually find out quite a bit in the show. I mean, he talks about exactly how the strategy works, and he gives you a couple of trading psychology tips. There's a book that really helped him out with his trading, and it's sort of quite, you can relate to it as a if you're an aspiring trader, you can relate to this sort of story. So, guys, before we get into the show, there's what else is going on? Oh yeah, I've got some changes coming up, which I know you're going to love, with the Robot Traders Club. So stay tuned, stay listening for that. That's coming up. Just had some feedback on my new Robot Builders Club. Some guys are going through and beta testing this. So this is for people that want to learn how to build trading robots themselves. Now, one of the guys said this new course is absolutely incredible. So thank you very much for that comment. I'm glad that it's hitting the mark. So guys, that's coming out as well very soon. So stay tuned. Right, without further ado, let's go and hear from Göran in the very first episode before next week when we get him back on, as well as a creator of this Pogo system and other things as well. I won't spoil it for you. Let's hear from him in this episode right now. All right, folks, here we are on 52 Traders. I've got Göran on the show. Now, Göran, I don't know how to say your last name. I've got to be honest.
Well, usually my first name is more difficult to say because my name is Göran. And that is quite difficult. But anyway, it's Carlfors. Göran Carlfors.
Carlfors.
Yeah,
Göran. I first stumbled back in episode 14 with Hishu Han. It took me ages to get his name right. For whatever reason, I'm just not one of these people that is great with names. Not great when you're meeting so many people on a podcast. But anyway, we've got. I'm going to have to call you Göran. I'll try Göran. Yeah,
that's great.
Göran. Yeah, so we've got Göran on the show. So Göran is not your typical, I suppose, what would I call sort of a traditional trading educator that I would normally get on the show. Göran is actually an ex-listener of the show who's reached out to me to say, hey, look, things have turned around and I'd like to share what I've done and what I've discovered with your audience out there so that some more people can profit and, I suppose, get an advantage in the market, especially if you've been around for a long time, which I think is part of Göran's story. And hopefully you can take some learnings out of this as well, because I think it's a journey that we've all been on and we're all going through, and one that's quite is one of those journeys that will help everyone out there learn a bit more and advance a bit more in their trading career. So, Göran, do you want to give us a little bit about you personally first, and before we get into the questions?
Sure. Well, I'm from Sweden, and I live on the countryside, so my neighbors are horses and sheep. and stuff like that. It's a very calm environment. But that's where the calm part stops, because I have my own business. I work very hard, 24/7 almost. So I work a lot, but my problem is that I don't gain a lot from my business. So and I've been wanting to get out of the rat race for very, very long. And 3 years ago, I stumbled on trading. So my journey started 3 years ago. I have a dog, which is very important for my trading also, and I'll get back to that later on.
And what's your business that you run?
I sell reading glasses.
Ah.
So I have a web shop, and I also have I sell my glasses to opticians here in Sweden.
Cool, brilliant. Okay, so you started 3 years ago. What first got you into trading?
I don't know, really. It was not something I was actively looking for, but I've always been interested in investing in shares and stuff like that. And then suddenly, I don't know who decided that, someone from above that decided that I should get a lot of input from different trading places or trading educators. So I got that in my Facebook log, and I don't know, I suppose I started to click on them, and then everything started. So I found something called Academy of Financial Trading, and I started to do their course. It was a 1-year course, a webinar course. And I found it very, very thrilling and fun and a lot to learn. And at this time, I thought that this is only about reading the charts. It has nothing to do with myself and my personality. But that I have quite badly understood now, or hardly, whatever you say, understand that trading is mostly about psychology. So anyway, after that I started a new training from Learn to Trade. It was a big program including coaching, and that program I learned a lot, really very, very, very much, and I think that if I had not started that program I would not have continued, and I would not have been where I am today. And I also tried a couple of, I think Peter Walters, who wrote Naked Forex Trading, I think he talks about the circle of dome, and that is a kind of a strategy jumping. And I think I'm a good example of believing that another strategy will make my life much better. So anyway.
So I mean, just touching base on the Academy of Financial Trading. I mean, what sort of stuff did you learn in that course?
Well, first of all, it was a basic course, so it was a lot about the market and the technical part of it, the reading bars and all that stuff. And then they had a daily strategy that was based on 21 and 52 days lowest or highest high. So a breakout strategy. So I did that for a while, but I lost some money, not very much, but at that time I thought that it was strategy that was wrong, not myself. So I jumped to another one.
And so was that? Do you think the strategy was actually profitable, and it was just the psychology aspect at that point?
I believe so, because as I understand today, there are so many strategies that are profitable, but the thing is that first of all, you have to learn how to use them and how to use them in your own way, because we all see charts differently, and you have to find your way to get the consistency. But for me, it was a lot of psychology also. Fear of losing, wanting to have right. I hope I can say I was a control freak. And those things doesn't work when you are trading.
Yeah, when you got the ego coming in, and you have to be right. It's a difficult one to overcome. It takes a long time to get to the point where it's like, I will, there's a good chance I'm going to be wrong here. It's 50-50. So learn to trade. What about that from an educational point of view? I mean, what style of trading were they teaching you, and what additional knowledge did you gain from that?
Well, I think that the one problem with Learn to Trade was that they teach you everything. They teach you all indicators. They teach you all different types of strategies. They teach you scaling in, scaling out. And I mean, it's Bollinger Bands. It's everything. And I think that my problem is that and then they tell us you have to use the strategy that resonates with you. And the problem for me was that everything resonates with me. I love it. I love everything. And then I tried one strategy, and then if that didn't work, I thought it was the strategy that was wrong. So I jumped to another strategy, etc. So and they had daily strategies, they had weekly strategies, and also down to 5-minute strategies. So I've been. Well, it's maybe it's a bit stupid to say that you know all that, but anyway, I got a feeling for a lot of different strategies and a lot of different time frames to trade them on. So it was a very, very good education for me.
And I suppose so it takes you all the way forward to present day, and the reason you got in contact with me, which was like, things had turned around. I mean, do you want to walk the listeners through that journey of how things started to turn around for you?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, this is I think many of us has realized that we have to be a better person when we or until we are a better person, we will not be profitable in our trading. So I started to have a mentor 1.5 years ago, and we were discussing everything but trading, but we were talking about control and wanting to have right and all those things, and also I know that you usually talk about books, but I after reading Trading in the Zone, I think that also made a lot of it helped me a lot after I read that book. So that was I started to with myself in the psychology, and as things go, sometimes I'm stumbled over from a trading group I'm participating in, a pro or some people that has developed a semi-automated strategy, and that was a little bit more than 6 months ago, and at that time it was a little bit, when I started that, it was a little bit easier for me to be consistent and also to follow rules, because that was also something that I was not that good at following rules, because I always thought that I had a little bit better approach to everything, and I didn't like to follow rules. And in many of my different works I've had, it has been quite good to break rules, because that means that you are creative and you do things differently. But at the time when I found Pogo is the strategy, it's the name of the strategy, then I was a little bit more ready with myself, which made life a little bit easier.
So it sounds like you sort of had a like the stars aligned at some certain point in time. You stumbled across this Pogo semi-automated strategy. I mean, how on earth did you stumble across it?
Well, that came from a trading group I participated in, and then the strategy is built around another strategy that I used to trade, and that was a manual or a standard manual strategy. It's not the same, but it has the same. The Pogo has developed from that, and I met Judy and Tiny in this group, and they started to talk about it and say that, hi guys, we have been trading for very long, and now we have we realized that there are some problems with some of the strategies on the market, and one of the problems is that if you have a full-time job, it's difficult to sit in front of the computer all day. And I mean, for me, I'm driving my car, so I can't do much on the daytime. So what they said that we have a semi-automated tool that will make your life much easier. And I understood that in the same second that they described how it worked, I understood, wow, this will help me a lot, because it will take take away almost all the stress that I have in my trading today. And that is also something, the fear of missing out. I mean, I didn't feel good when I had to go to work, because I know that I will miss something now. So the new poker strategy has helped me with that one.
And then you fear you're missing out, and then you jump into a trade that you shouldn't because you missed out, or the move's already gone and you jump in because, I should have been in anyway. It'll be all right. No, it won't. Sorry, guys. So that sounds fantastic. So you found it in the forum. It's called Pogo. Judy and Tiny are the guys that have created this strategy. So, I mean, do you want to run through some of the? Let's hear first of all about some of the first trades you placed with it. I mean, how did that go?
The first trade I placed with Pogo.
Yeah, the first few trades you placed with Pogo.
The first few trades I placed with Pogo, I lost 3 or 4 in a row.
Righty-ho. So how did you carry on then? What happened there?
Well, no, but then we got a lot of support from Judy and Tiny. It's absolutely unbelievable how much they help us. And actually it was a little bit the same. I wanted to test it because I thought that I know this. I've done the similar strategy. I know exactly how it works. But you can also, with Pogo, you can jump in too late, and you can take trades late in the phase or late in the trend. So when I got that sorted out, which was very, very quick, I started to make profit of it, and as it is today, now I'm up 21%, and that is I started in mid-March. So this is the first time I've been consistently profitable every month, to be honest. But to be honest, July has been very, very slow, so that was my first minus month. But the market has been slow, so I'm not at all worried about that. Okay. The market will start to move very soon again, I think.
Well, look, do you want to dive? Should we dive into the some of the sort of numbers around the strategy here? So, first of all, what style would you call this trading style?
Well, it's a trend-based strategy, and you analyze on H4, and you have 3 simple rules that you have to follow. And when those 3 rules are fulfilled, and that is you have to have 2 cycles on H4, the EMAs has to be in right order, and we use 20 and 50. And the third rule is that you have you need a pullback to the EMA, 20 EMA. And when you have that, you use the executor Pogo. So you go down to 30 minutes and you put Pogo on, and then you don't do anything more. Pogo is taking care of everything else on the lower time frame.
And so when you're talking about everything else, you're talking about it's entering the trade, setting the stop, taking the profits, that sort of thing?
Yes, absolutely, everything. Pogo plays 2 trades, and one, the first one is a reward to risk 1-to-1, and the second one is reward to risk 2-to-1, and you we use stop loss of 30 pips. And when the first trade takes profit, the second trades move, or Pogo moves the stop loss to break even. So when you have 1-to-1, the second trade runs for free, so to say. And it's really a set and forget strategy. You shouldn't move anything manually. You just leave it, and that it's in the beginning that is difficult because you want to babysit the trades and you want to help. But the more you have used it, the more you realize that Pogo is doing this much better than myself, and Pogo has no feelings at all.
And so if we dive into the numbers here, I mean, how long does a trade usually last for?
That depends a lot on the volatility on the market, but I would say that from 15 minutes to a couple of days. So during this July now, the trade has been quite long.
And what percentage of winners do you usually get?
I don't know about other people, but I have a 60% success rate up to now.
And so from what you were saying, like the risk to reward ratio is sort of like 2-to-1 for one trade and then 1-to-1 for another trade. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
And I mean, how many instruments and what sort of instruments do you trade it on?
I trade Forex only, and it's about 30 plus instruments. And that, also gold is working quite good on this strategy, but at the moment no indices and no other metals.
And so how many trades would be running at one time then?
Well, I in my trading plan I have a risk that could be maximum 5% at a certain time. So that is. So I could have 3 trades running at the same time, about.
Okay.
But also that depends on if you have a couple of trades that break even. Then I don't take them into the risk anymore. So then I could have maybe 4 trades or 5 trades running.
Okay. So when the stop loss gets moved into break even, then you'll consider taking more trades because you're now sort of at a status quo of you can't actually lose any money.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what does your typical day look like now that you're trading this Pogo type of strategy?
Okay, it's
actually before you answer, should we do your typical trading day beforehand and then your typical trading day now?
Well, I don't know if I want to talk about my trading day before that because that was a mess.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. I'd like to hear if it was like how bad it was.
No, but I mean, I didn't. I made my analysis at that time at different times. Yeah. And I took trades at different times, and there were no consistency whatsoever in anything, to be honest. And I think that maybe that would have changed also without Pogo. Because I think we all know that consistency is the most important thing in trading, or one of the most important things in trading. So I didn't have any consistency. I had a trading plan, but I never read it. I made a very good trading plan. I put it in the drawer.
Yep.
Which doesn't make much help. So I mean, if you compare it to my work, that I have to be very, very structured and do everything in the right order. But before, when I was trading, I didn't treat it as some kind of business. I treated it as some kind of, I don't know, fun thing to do. So.
Okay, and so what does it look like today then?
Well, today I always start my analysis at 7 o'clock in Sweden, and that is 2 hours before London opens. After I've done my analysis, and that takes 15 to 30 minutes. But after that, I take my dog for a 30 minutes walk, and the thing that happens to me when I do my walk is that the trading gets a little bit away from my brain, and then when I come back, I check my analyze and I place the trades, and that takes at the most 15 minutes. If I can, I check in every 4 hours, because this is a 4-hour strategy, so things could happen, but as we all also know, it doesn't happen that quick on 4 hours. But I check in and just to see if there are new setup that has happened. But when I'm out driving, I do this when I get back home again, check how things look.
And so I suppose, how long did it take you to go from, having this messy sort of trading day to the structured trading day? Did it just come naturally when you had these rules to follow and you had this sort of system, which I suppose because it was semi-automated, it tended to require some sort of structure to it? I mean, how did you go about doing it?
I think that it has been an evolving process for me. But as you say, the semi-automated approach has helped me a lot. And also my mentor, Judy, she's a very tough guy, and she's very, very hard on. You have to have your trading plan. You have to have your consistency, and it's always very good to have someone checking you up. And she does that very much. So good. She has helped me a lot by being bad to me, so to say, which is, of course, not bad. It's, of course, the other way around. But sometimes you don't want to hear things.
So she's been a good sort of mentor in terms of keeping you on the straight and narrow. Right, so this question is slightly off target here, but it might be relevant. I mean, have you ever considered using Pogo on the cryptocurrency markets, or has anyone tested it? Has Judy tested it? What are your thoughts?
No, we haven't. I know that she has not tested Pogo on crypto, and I've stayed out of crypto trading. Maybe I am a risk taker, but I have a feeling that crypto is a little bit too risky for me, and of course I have by having this view of cryptocurrency or crypto trading, I suppose I have lost a few good trades, maybe. I don't know.
So in the beginning, what do you think made you a bit different? I suppose, this is the question I ask everyone. I mean, and it might be difficult for you to answer, but I mean, you've got to the point now where you're pretty happy with your trading, and you've obviously gone through some pain like most people, and you feel like you've come out the other end, and you're doing well. You're going to stick with this. What do you think what lessons can people take away from this? I mean, and where you got to, what's the lesson that you want to give people?
Well, first of all, I think it's very, very important to really work on the psychology thing of trading. I think it's extremely important. In the beginning, you spend a lot of time on checking charts and learning bars and all that stuff, and you think that as soon as I know how that works, everything will be great. But that is not true. I mean, that in the beginning you have to do that because you have to have that knowledge. But it's also very, very important to take care of your emotions related to money and trading. So that is very, very important. And I've also had. I'm being a bit lucky because I've had trading friends because we have been in trading groups, and we have helped each other a lot during this travel. And I think we also know that trading is very, very lonely, and I mean it's so easy to to quit if you don't have someone to talk to, and that person or that group has to be know what you talk about and understand and help and mentor and cry together and laugh together and all that. And I've been very, very lucky because I've had those kind of persons around me in my trading. And of course you have to have a strategy that works with your lifestyle. You can't do 5 minutes trading if you're not in front of your computer, for example. So that is very, very important because trading can easily absorb you, and that could have very, very bad effects on your relationships and things like that. So it has to fit your life. For me, as it is right now, I have a 5-year plan for my trading, and as it is today, I don't. What I gain from trading, I use for wealth building. I don't use it for buying food, and I think that is also quite good because if you rely on the trading income, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and some people can take it, but some can't. So if you can build your account and use the compounding for a couple of years, I think that is the best. And of course, strategy jumping doesn't work. I can assure you that.
And what sort of one trading psychology tip would you leave people with? Like, what was there anything you sort of like took away from reading Trading in the Zone or anything like that you thought, hang on, if I make this one change, things might actually change for me?
Well, I have two, and I've already talked about them. But to believe that you control the Forex market, I did that. I thought I could, but when I realized that my job is to analyze, find a setup, and leave the computer. When I realized that, it didn't help that I was screaming to my computer or crying or whatever. So wanting to control the market, that is one, and of course wanting to have right. That if you have that kind of personality, it's quite hurtful because if you have 50% wrong, you don't feel very good because you want to have 100% right. So those two is very, very important for me it was, but I suppose that could be very, very different from different people.
It's good advice, though. It's good advice. It's good to hear it sort of succinctly like that. Now, this Pogo system, so do you have to sort of take into consideration any fundamental analysis, so the news that's hitting the Forex market or gold market for that matter, when you're looking at placing your trades?
Yes. I use Forex Factory for checking red alerts, and the NFP week, for example, I avoid trading from Wednesday. Whatever happens, I stop my trading on Wednesday, and if there are rate information from a country, I don't trade that currency. For example, Kiwi is coming out with. You should know that.
Interest rate change.
Yeah, exactly. So I stay away from Kiwi right now, for example.
Okay, and so you'll stay away from that pair for how long before and after the actual news hits?
I have 3 hours before and 2 hours after. That's how I have it in my trading plan. But as I said, NFP is a little bit bigger. So
okay. And so with all the knowledge that you've taken out of the first two courses that you did, and the books you've read and all that sort of stuff, I mean, if you had to recommend some things on a price chart for someone to educate themselves on, I mean, what would those things be?
I think if you are doing trend trading, I think that is one very, very important thing to start to really recognize the trend. That for me has been the best knowledge, and of course included in that is also the price bars, giving you a lot of information.
And so one of the things I've heard many times, and from my mentor as well, is like that people, retail traders typically want to counter trend trade. I mean, is that something that you've sort of cured by doing this? Do you feel like you've cured that? Like the fact that you're actually having to force yourself, the part of the strategy is to look for the trend and then take a part of that trend out. Has that cured you completely of any counter trend trading?
Actually, that has not been one of my big problems before. So I don't have at the moment. I don't know. Now when you tell me, maybe I will have a problem with that. But at the moment, I don't.
It can't cure you if it was never a problem. So, but it sounds like you're not doing any counter trend trading anyway, it's a trend trading strategy. Okay, yeah. Brilliant. Well, look, let's move on to the quick fire round. So, because not my typical guest, you might struggle to come up with some answers here, but let's see how we go anyway. So, how long did it take you to go from trading newbie to consistently profitable?
It took me 2.5 years.
What's your mental approach to trading, and do you have any special techniques you can share with us?
Yeah, buy a dog and walk the dog off. I know, but that for me that is very, very good. And I also do some meditation. Not as much as I would like to, but if I have had a bad period, I really try to meditate, which will make me a lot calmer again. And also having a mentor is so important and so good.
What's your favorite entry setup?
Well, for me right now, that is actually the pogo setup, but that is the 2 cycles EMAs in the right order and a touch on the 20 EMA. That could be used for any kind of trading, actually.
And are there better setups than others? Like, I mean, do some actually look way better and you're like, yep, this is definitely going to be a runner than others?
It's I mean, as it is today, I analyze on H4 and I execute on 30 minutes. But of course, if you I hope Judy doesn't hear this now, but if you take a look at the daily, of course, if you are starting in phase 1 in daily, it's usually that's a little bit stronger. Also on 30 minutes, but so sometimes I take a look at daily also.
What's your recommended trading book?
As I said, I really love Trading in the Zone. And also Naked Forex. I think that is a great book. The Big Leap is also a very, very good big book. That is that has nothing to do with trading, but it has to do with your mental approach and stuff like that.
The Big Leap, and who's
the
that
Big
by?
Leap? I don't remember that right now, to be honest. I can send you information about that.
We should be able to find it on Amazon.
Yeah.
So if there was one thing you'd recommend any retail trader spend the next month mastering, what would it be, why, and how could they go about mastering it?
Well, I would recommend a strategy with simple black and white rules. To follow rules with your strategy is very, very important. But the rules has to be as black and white as possible. And the easier they are to follow, I'm convinced that the more the profitable the strategy will be. We also use a tick sheet or tick list, which helps you follow your rules, because sometimes you, within quotes, forget about one of the rules because you want to take the trades anyway. So a tick sheet helps that a lot.
What's your preferred broker and trading platform?
I use MT4, and actually I use IC Markets from Australia. I think they're great.
Now, maybe thinking back to time in the past, what was your worst ever trade?
I've always had trade educators that has been talking a lot about risk. So I've never lost more than 2% on a trade because they have been hammering risk management from the beginning, from I started. But of course, I've done several 2% in a month.
Okay, so you had several losers in a row, but nothing memorable that's been that's hurt the soul.
No.
Righty-ho, so if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think one of the most important things related to trading, that is, don't quit. You will get there. It takes time, and it's very, very hard sometimes, but if you want to do it, you can do it.
Superb. Now, the last question of the show, I'm not too sure if you're going to be able to give us an answer for this because, you trade that strategy. But the question is, and I'm going to throw it your way, and we're just going to see where we end up, but we'd like you to give us the bones of a full trading strategy, the entry setup, stop loss, take profit targets, market time frame, something our listeners can try it at home. Now, Göran, what do you reckon?
Well, I would say that what we can do is I can give you charts on this, and you can present that for your listeners. But what I would say that everyone can do, with or without Pogo, that is using this strategy that I'm using, and I can tell you here how it works, and I can give you some charts that makes it a little bit easier if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. So, I mean, maybe just explain it once again so that everyone's got it succinctly how this works, and then we can chuck some charts up, and maybe we'll do a short link, 52traders.com/Pogo, Pogo, for people that want to get access to this in the future. So, yeah, let's have your version of how the strategy works.
Yeah, and this is now the manual version of it. So, but it's you start at exactly the same way. You look on H4. You look for 2 cycles, the EMAs in the right order, and a touch on the 20 EMA. After that, you go down to 30 minutes, and what you look for there is again, you have the same EMAs. They have to be in the right order, so they have to be in the same. Or if it's a buy, the 20 has to be above the 50, and vice versa. And so you wait for the flip on the EMAs, so they are in the right order. You wait for price action to come back to 20 EMA again, and you take the trade when it touches the 30 minutes EMA 20. So that's it. The problem is that could take some time. First of all, to get the EMAs in order, that could take some time. So they are at the same order on H4 and M30, and then you need to wait for the bounce or the pullback to the 20. And the thing that was difficult for me was that when I was trading this manually, I had to have my computer when I was eating and when I was watching TV and everything. So it's a little bit stressful, but you can do it. And if you have time and to sit in front of your computer, you can do it easily. But I will show the listeners how it looks on a chart. I think that is a little bit easier.
Cool. And look, I mean, maybe I think it's probably a good idea to get you back on the show, maybe with Judy, the creator of this Pogo strategy, in the future, and see sort of how you're progressing, in the next few months. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be great to show where I am, and that should be way above 21%.
Okay, so let's and even if you can give us some charts or something that we can actually put up there so that people can see the before and after picture, that would be great. And we've sort of got it logged here. I'm recording this just so people know on the 8th of August 2018. When it goes out, I think it'll be maybe next week. Fingers crossed. Nothing changes on my end. But yeah, so next week will go out, and then we'll get you back on here maybe later on in the year and see where things end up.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Okay, so just guys, if you want to find out more, jump on to 52traders.com and check out Göran, Goran, in the search box, and you'll find those charts that he's going to send us through. And then we'll get him, and you also see his trading statement and maybe an equity curve or something there. So search for Göran, or you can jump onto 52traders.com/pogo, and we'll see if we can redirect that link to the page as well. Okay, guys. So thanks once again, Göran, for coming on from Sweden. I hear you guys are having a great summer over there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, all right. I said I hear you guys are having a great summer over there.
Yeah, it has been so hot in Sweden. We are not used to this. I think it's the hottest summer for 250 years or something like that. It has been no rain at all.
Wow, that's incredible.
We're not used to that, and there has been a lot of fires, forest fires. So it has been quite bad.
Even in Sweden as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know what's happening, but
fingers crossed for this world, eh? Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Until next time, I wish all my listeners trading happiness and success. Righty-ho, guys. Now, stay tuned for next week's episode where we get Göran back on with the creator of the Pogo strategy, and we hear about this other strategy as well. And we've got a video as well that I recorded with the creator of Pogo, and you're going to see that on the YouTube channel. And plus, we've got some other bonuses as well. So, guys, stay tuned. This is coming up, and I promise you, we'll be getting back into some regular TradingNut interviews with traders from all around the world to find out what makes them tick in the coming weeks. Stay tuned for that as well, guys. Now, before I leave you, remember, Robot Traders Club, new stuff coming up. Get on the list, get on the email list on tradingnut.com if you want to find out what that's all about, if you're not already on there. Or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Apple, or Spotify, or Stitcher, or wherever you're listening, to be honest. And if you're there, leave a review. I'd love a review. I haven't had a review for ages, so please leave a review, and I'll read out some reviews on air when they come through. All right, guys, have a great trading week, and I'll catch you on the next episode.